the thing about whether or not it's a buyer's market or a seller's market, none of that really matters unless you want to move, need to move, can afford to move. Those are the most important things. So the right time to buy is when you are ready to buy, regardless of what's going on with the market.
I also think like on the seller side, and this one is a hard one for me because I'm a capitalist and I believe in making money and I believe in a free economy. And I don't want to say to somebody, hey, you're making too much money. I never want to say that. But also like for somebody that bought their home 5 to 7 years ago, you're probably at minimum doubling your money.
But like if you're waiting for crash, you're waiting for something drastic to happen in the market, I just don't know if that's a great strategy. If you can afford now, buy now and refinance if the rates do drop.
Hi guys, welcome back to the DFW New Home Podcast. Megan and I are here, we're hanging out. We have talked all the fun things, new construction. It's the heat of the summer, which usually means it's a lot of movement in terms of buying and selling and everything, every which way. So today, I think we're just going to talk about the idea. One of the things we want to talk about is, hey, is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? Should we wait? Should we not wait? Is it a good time? Is it a terrible time? I think there's a ton of different things we could go in that direction. So Megan?
Yeah. So the thing about whether or not it's a buyer's market or a seller's market, none of that really matters unless you want to move, need to move, can afford to move. Like those are the most important things. So the right time to buy is when you are ready to buy, regardless of what's going on with the market. But it helps to be informed as to what conditions you might be facing, depending on whether or not it is a buyer's market or a seller's market. So Zach, which one do you want to start with? Do you want to start with buyer's market, seller's market?
I do a ton of buyer stuff, so I prefer it when it's a buyer's market, which I feel like I feel like that's kind of where honestly it feels more like that, but honestly I think DFW is moving more neutral in some ways. I think other markets are still seeing it being heavily seller favored or heavily buyer favored, but like the DFW area as a whole feels incredibly mid to neutral, and at least in my feelings.
Yeah, like there's still a lot of demand. There's still not enough supply to meet that demand. But because rates are high, because prices are high, things aren't moving super quickly. So sellers are a little bit more motivated to offer incentives and to try and, especially builders are motivated to offer incentives to try and incentivize and stimulate that.
Well,
simulate sales. Thank you.
Yeah. To move product. Right. And I think you and I spend enough time in the new construction space that we talk, pretty lengthy about builder incentives. And I feel like we talk about that a lot, but oftentimes I think I forget that there was a time that wasn't the case. Like you might get, $5,000 maybe on a good day, like maybe $7,000. And now it's like back the truck up and, dump as much money as 15, 20, 25.
30.
and I think I think for some of those things, it eliminates competition. And so, on a buyer side, it's like, hey, there's plenty of inventory to choose from. And from the builder side, they're saying, hey, we need to move this. So we're doing almost whatever we need to do to move something. Right. And because I don't think, and maybe I'm wrong, I think we'll get to a place where rates come down. I don't know that we'll see prices ever come back down. Right. I think.
Yeah. I don't see it happening. I don't see a world where that happens based off of all of the expert predictions.
Well, and to clarify, prices may come down slightly or, sub 10%, but you're not, at least in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong. And if I am wrong, I'll come back to this video and publicly own that I'm wrong. But 20, 25, 30% price decreases over the long term. I just don't see it. Right.
Like our average sales prices right now are in the 400s. A few years ago, it was in the 200s, 300s. Like, I just don't see us getting back to that. Like, now that the precedent is set.
Yeah. I mean, the best I think we hope for is rates that start with a 5. Like in a normal market, and then you have potential buying down power from there, right? We're recording this first part of June. The Fed is set to meet again next week. All signs seem to indicate again that we're going to hold steady. Again, I am not an economist. There are people way smarter than me that understand all of those things. I don't get it. But everything seems to indicate from what I've been reading, we're going to hold steady, but they're forecasting rates to drop again later this year. So
yeah, that's what I heard at the beginning of this year, that signs were pointing to hopefully interest rates starting with a 5 by the end of the year.
yeah.
Who knows if that will happen? That would be great. But let's talk about what happens if that does happen. What happens with the rest of the market if interest rates are in the 5%?
The moment it happens, I mean, competition goes back up, right? Yeah. So everybody that sat on the sidelines and said, oh, we're going to wait, or, oh, we've been priced out, or, oh, whatever. As soon as they can get back to a point that they qualify for more buying power, the more people start into the market, right? And then on top of that, add that to a market. There's
millions of people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then again, millions of people on the sidelines right now waiting for that.
Not to mention people that are new to the market because they relocated. So you've got the people that are already here that are waiting or trying to get in or trying to figure it out. And then you have the influx of, companies are moving here. So they're moving their workforce, or just, people are relocating here out of other states. So like you start adding all of that in, and we still have a shortage, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm at millions nationwide, but yeah, you're right. Even here in DFW, like this is one of the hottest markets in the country. So yes, demand is still strong.
You posted an article the other day that, and I read through it. So DFW was one of the biggest new construction communities. What was it? Over nationwide over 2023? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think it was number 2 in the country last year. Yeah.
And then with Houston following short behind in terms of new construction closes, completions, and starts. Like I said, everywhere that there's land, it seems like housing developments are popping up for good or for bad, or and so there's people buying those, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, in a seller/neutral, almost buyer's market, you still see builders doing incentives. I was actually in a community that for a builder that you used to work for yesterday, and we were talking about inventory, and they're advertising up to $55,000 in flex cash in one of these communities. Wow. And so I was like, hey, well, how are we using that? And they're like, well, we probably have 20 to 25 and closing costs, which is huge, and then another 20 to 30 in price reduction or additions, or however, builders are baking in that margin, right? So I think a lot of times you look at a new construction home and you're like, yeah, it's more expensive than the resale home down the street, but it's with all of those incentives are getting baked into that price, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're getting a price reduction, and then you're getting help with closing costs, and then you're also getting help with the rate buy down, so your monthly payment's lower. I just think it makes sense. That's why I'm such a big proponent of it.
Yeah, and again, there's no emotion in it. It's not you're not buying somebody's dream home that they have to make money out of. And I'm kind of telling a lot of my sellers right now, it's like, hey guys, if we want to be competitive, we need to price almost like a builder would, in terms of understanding, hey, people need a little bit of help on the finance side to make a win.
Mm-hmm.
I also think on the seller side, and this one is a hard one for me, because I'm a capitalist and I believe in making money and I believe in a free economy. I think and I don't want to say to somebody, hey, you're making too much money. I never want to say that. But also for somebody that bought their home 5 to 7 years ago, you're probably at minimum doubling your money.
Yeah.
In most cases. And if you're not doubling, you're at least making, 40 to 60%, right? And so not selfishly, but realistically, I want to just say to you, hey, you're making a ton. It would be beneficial to help somebody get in to be able to buy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
I feel like I'm stumbling on that a little bit, but hey, I'm not saying you should make less. I'm just saying you are already making a lot. So us having the ability to help somebody as they're coming in, because somebody probably helped you, and you got a really good deal. Like giving a little.
Is so much new construction that they're competing with. It makes sense. Like, are you saying like just to offer like similar incentives as to what the builders are offering? Like take some of that money that they're going to earn from the sale and use it to help somebody, a first time buyer with like closing costs? Or
I'm saying that makes you competitive, right? I'm saying if from the jump on a listing, if we're saying, hey, we have $5,000 to $10,000 set aside that we know as a seller we're willing to contribute, because a buyer can't buy down their own. Like there has to be an outside contributor or an interested party contribution, right? If so, from the jump, we're saying, hey, we're open to that conversation. And then it's on the buyer's agent to negotiate the right way and ask the right questions and, present the best offer for their client. But I'm trying as best as I can on the listing side to let my people say, hey, be prepared. Somebody's probably going to ask us for this, and we should maybe consider marketing it from the beginning.
Absolutely. I love that. Cause climb the property ladder, go you, but reach a hand down to help the people below you on that ladder to also climb up, because it's harder now than it ever has been. I absolutely love that idea.
And then it's interesting too. I've seen a lot of people recently talking about, and I think we would fall probably in this boat of, hey, I don't know that I could afford my house in my neighborhood now with what rates are and what prices are. And I think a lot of people are in that space. And I've seen a lot of content where people are like, oh, we bought in 2017 and our house was, I watched this video of this guy this morning. He's like, we bought in 2017 for $350,000 and we just had our house appraised and it appraised for $690,000. And I'm like, yeah, you doubled your money in 5 years, 6 years. Right. And then, he's talking about like, hey, our interest rate then was, 4.5 and now it would be 7.2. And like, the payment would double, the taxes would double. It's a hard space right now. And I feel that on a lot of levels.
And I feel like the good news is I don't expect it to continue to grow at that rate.
No,
that was really like unprecedented circumstances that we experienced 2020 through 2022. So we haven't seen the home values just shooting straight up like they were over those last couple of years. So it has slowed down. That's the good news. I don't think we're going to see it double again in another 2 or 3 years. So
no, but it'll double in 10 to 12.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
not two.
Real estate will reliably appreciate over time. That's something that's proven out over, if you look at 100-year average, about 4% appreciation per year. We've seen way more than that in the last 4, but I don't think it's going to continue to just get more and more and more and more and more unaffordable so quickly.
I hope not. Like I said, I believe in, everybody should be able to make money, but I'm also like, I want people to be able to buy homes. I want you to have that dream of, if you want to own a home, I want it to be possible. And it's getting harder. Which it's hard. It's hard on all, like, I hate having that conversation over and over and over and being like, oh, we want to do this. And it's like, well, there's nothing here. Like we can't. And so what's the alternative, right? How do we help people? And as builders continue to provide incentives and provide money, that's the biggest avenue for me.
Yeah, that, like, hey, and then going further out. So it's like, especially if you work from home and you're not having to commute anywhere specifically, that, I mean, you're in a really good spot if that's your situation, because then you can afford to move another 15, 20 minutes out and your money goes so much further.
Yep. It's a big deal.
Too, Zach, in your area.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So while we're talking about this, I actually want to, so we have a tool with our MLS association. We can look at stats and trends and data. So I actually want to pull it up and I've kind of looked at this briefly, but I haven't studied it in depth. Megan hasn't seen this yet at all. So we're going to kind of look at it. I want to look at year over year trends. So May 2023 to June, basically 2024, because we don't have June data yet, and just look at some different maybe micro markets here in DFW to kind of see just from a new construction side, maybe from a resale side too, what we're actually seeing happen in the market.
Let's take a look.
So, Megan, if you'll give me 10 seconds, talk about whatever you want to talk about for a second, and let me set this up, and then I will we'll get it ready to go.
So yeah, just to recap the first half of this video, just talking about buyer's market versus seller's market. I'd say when it is a seller's market, obviously there's more competition. So like, yes, the interest rates might be lower, the prices might be lower. When that happens, the demand goes up and it gets more difficult. I know on the resale side, people are having to offer, like there's multiple offers, they're having to offer way over asking price. So we're not seeing that as much anymore. That's great. That's good news for us. But whatever's going on in the market, there's advantages and disadvantages, and you need to find a professional to work with that can help you navigate that.
Awesome. Very well said. All right, Megan, can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay, so if you can see it, everybody can see it. So what I started with was, I just did Collin County, just because I know you do a lot of business in Collin County. Yep. I do a lot of business in Collin County, and Collin County is one of the quickest growing areas as a whole here in DFW. So we can do this, and then we can go by county, we can go by city, but here's where I want to start. So I've got it set just new construction. And here's what, as we talk about growth. So this is number of homes for sale listed by a builder in May of 2023. So we're 839. So about this time last year. Yeah. So about this time last year, 839. What this doesn't account for is like land positions where somebody comes in and builds from the ground up. This is only just like speculation stuff, right? Okay, so 839 year over year, and then as of May of this year, Collin County has 1,345 new construction homes for sale.
Yeah.
Can we say
I love it. And I know there's some people that are a little resistant to the development, and they're like, oh, I like my small country town and all that. But it's just like, we have a housing crisis. We have a housing shortage. Like, we need houses for people. So I think it's great to see that builders are rising to meet that demand.
But still, so this is month supply. So this one, when we look at this one, this is like if everything sold in that was on the market that was listed, here's how many months worth of supply we have, right? So to Megan's point, this time last year, we were at 2.9, almost 3 months worth of supply in the new construction space, just in Collin County. And now we're at 3.4, a healthy market, like a normalized.
Yeah, that's very healthy. Yeah.
Market
just for
right
reference, in 2020, 2021, for a long time there, we were at less than a month of supply of inventory, which is a very, very like insane seller's market, because there wasn't any inventory available. So that's great to see it. 3 months is a really healthy marker for inventory.
Yeah. So now we'll do, okay, so this is number of closed sales within a month. So May 2023, we closed 462 that month. And then May 2024, we closed 418. So basically right on par, even with adding like 800 more in inventory. So they're still closing at about the same rate, and they're just trying to add more and more inventory into that space. Now, I think the big one is this one right here. So this is median sales price. So this one is super interesting to me. Median or average sales price May 2023 on a new construction home in Collin County. So this includes, Prosper, Frisco, Salina, all of that, right? Median 568,140 a year ago. Median now is 472,108. So when you look at those, it's almost $100,000 drop. What do you, in your opinion, what do you attest that to, Megan?
Yeah, it's not because homes used to cost $800,000 and now they only cost $472,000. I believe that's because these new areas like Van Alstyne and like all of these areas that I work in, Anna, Melissa, Weston, where there's tons of new development coming in at a lower price point. So it's just helping those numbers, because Prosper and Salina, that's where a bunch of the development was and still is. And the average sales price in those areas are way higher than in these newer developing areas. So I think it's
So
just
Salina is
growth
going
in
to be
newer
the
areas.
Salina is the blue line. Collin County is the red line. So
Yeah.
Salina itself is $100,000 above the average for Collin County.
And then
But for
Prosper's
reference,
even worse, isn't it?
I bet Prosper's even worse. And then
I
we
think
can
it's
add
800.
in. Let's see. Let's do this in real time. So Prosper will be green. Yeah, that would be 969.
Yeah, more than
So
800.
Prosper, Salina, Frisco are carrying the bulk of the big price points in Collin County.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For reference,
but then look up.
I can add one more. I can do 4 lines. So you want Melissa or you want Anna?
Let's do Anna, because I know Melissa is about 520.
Anna will
average.
pop at the black. So Anna actually falls on the lower side of Collin County.
Mm-hmm.
And it's remained. So again, if we look back here, it's remained relatively steady. So it was 409 a year ago, and it's at 410, right? So it's one of the real steady markets, which I think is good, because a lot of times you end up seeing builders take price increases year over year, right? So this would probably be a combination of, hey, we've had a little bit of price increases, but there's probably some new development that's happened in the last year.
Yeah. And I feel like Anna is kind of being targeted as an affordable area. So a lot of the new developments that we're seeing coming in are still in that affordable price point. That's just, it's great for builders to have those hot areas where homes are selling quickly. Yeah,
it's up almost like with 50 closed sales year over year. So Collin County, so this is closed sales. So Anna, y'all closed 72 homes last month, which is good. And then in May, they closed 84. So it's actually down a little bit. But overall, I think we're seeing the market. I mean, and I'll even pull. So now I'm curious. I want to do some on my side of town. So let's do, sorry, I can't see this one because it's kind of like off the edge of my screen. Let's do Rockwall as a city, because I know Rockwall County. So let's do Rockwall as a city. Let's do
Lavon.
Let's do Lavon, because I think there's a ton of growth happening out that way.
For sure.
Rockwall, Lavon. And I want to do, this is another one that I see a lot of people buying into, because so this one is interesting to me. This one is funny.
Oh, yeah. I see that too.
So let's do sales price. No surprise, Rockwall is pulling the highest. You're not going to touch Rockwall proper under like 5. That doesn't surprise me. Lavon at 396 a year ago. It looks like it's going to be up, and Forney looks like it's going to be about the same. So 376. And then here, so Rockwall's up 573, Lavon 411. I would attribute that to there's some more neighborhoods that have opened. Elavon's in its next phase. Lake Point is in its next phase. Yeah, at a higher price point. I mean, you've got, builders in Elavon, anything now from 350 to 650 at this point, right? So we're seeing that average up, and then Forney is up a little bit as well too. So overall, what's your feeling about the market based on what we're seeing in this data?
Me? Like I'm not surprised at all. I feel like it's similar to where we were last year. In some cases a little better, in some cases a little worse. Like that feels right to me. Like I haven't seen any drastic changes in how the market has felt just working in it over the last year. So I think that's good in terms of stability. And I think it's also goes to show that, like, if you're waiting for a crash, you're waiting for something drastic to happen in the market, like, I just don't know if that's a great strategy. If you can afford now, buy now and refinance if the rates do drop. Yeah,
you get waiting on the crash in DFW. You have a better chance of the Cowboys winning a Super Bowl. To be frankly honest, so
I'm not a football fan.
Yeah, I as a football fan, I can say that. So let's finish with just kind of overall county views. So I pulled 4 of the biggest counties that make up North Texas. So we've got Collin, Dallas, Tarrant, and Denton County. The Dallas County one is always a little bit skewed just because of how big Dallas County is. And all the things that encompasses. But it's always, like I said, I'm a numbers nerd, so I could sit here and look at this kind of stuff all day. So sales price, that's May a year ago. And then we're seeing things continue to grow. So yeah, Megan's point of waiting. Let's look at, again, people are still buying. So it's not like we're seeing a massive drop off in sales. We're actually up year over year from 2023 to 2024 in number of closed sales.
I bet if you could split out Dallas County sales price from like North and South Dallas or West.
Well, that was all of it. That was not even just new construction. So I need to reset it and go. This one, I think, is the percent of original list price. I think this one is interesting anecdotally because, and I haven't clicked it yet, but I think so. This one, what this measures is how many homes sold for what they originally listed for, right? This one I think will be interesting. I don't know what to do with the data yet on the new construction side because so many times things get listed, and I feel like price changes. It's got to even think price change in new construction is more frequent than price change on resale. But we're still seeing builders are getting 97, 98, 96% of original what they're saying they're going to market for.
So I think that is also a good point to say, like, hey, if you think that you're going to be able to go in and negotiate with the builder and ask for 30, 40,000 just off the top of the sales price.
That's a brilliant point.
It's probably not a great negotiating strategy. It's probably not a very realistic plan.
No, like I said, you might, but you're going to be a unicorn. It's not going to be.
It's not that much of a buyer's market. Yeah.
No, and you're better off. And I'll say this any way I know how to say it. You're better off asking for more closing costs than you are for price reductions. Totally. Because the closing cost helps you more than the price reduction, and B, this sounds shady, and I don't mean it to sound shady, but closing costs can get hidden within a transaction.
Yeah.
How do I say that more?
Yeah, it doesn't affect the margins as much, and it also it also helps for comps. So if a builder has a home that's for sale in the community and they sell it to somebody for 30,000 less than what it was listed for, well, say they have another inventory home that's that same floor plan down the street. Well, now when that home goes to get appraised, the appraiser is going to look at the other one that was sold and say, well, that one was 30,000 less. So that means I think this one's worth 30,000 less. So the builder's less likely to want to offer a big discount on price unless it's not listed on MLS, which often actually the specs are not listed on MLS, in which case maybe, but even still,
sometimes
you save more money if you buy your rate down than if you ask off the price, unless you're a cash buyer, which good for you.
Yeah. That's awesome. And we got to talk about why I think you shouldn't leverage all your money that way. But yeah, I would say sometimes builders are really terrible about getting inventory on MLS, right? Sometimes even some builders, to be honest, are terrible about getting it on their own website for one reason or another. So it's actually
intentional. It's a strategy for that reason, so that if they do have to take a little bit of a hit on selling one, they don't have to document it on MLS for it to affect the other comps.
There we go. Megan dropping all the secrets. It's intentional.
What builders don't want to tell you.
I just think it's like I get it. It's like, hey, we got to get you in the door and, show you all the other things. But from a research standpoint, I would just rather see it all at once.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pet peeve another thing really quick. If you're a home builder or you work for a home builder and you happen to be watching our podcast and you can talk to your people about your website, and if on your website all it shows is first of all, we can talk a whole episode about why websites are terrible, but my main point is, if on your website, if I click on a home and it says it's quick move in, but it doesn't have a timeline on it, you make me want to throw up. Like, just like, I don't care if the timeline is December. Just put something there instead of like, well, we want you to call. Like, don't gatekeep the information.
And like I'm finding now that I'm actually working with buyers on this other side, and I'm doing homework ahead of our showing appointments.
Yes.
Like, just even being able to track down, like, what is the HOA? What is the tax rate? Like, I'm having to dig for this information and like reach out to their online salespeople to try and figure out like, what incentives do you have going on? What is it?
And the online salesperson is not the person in the community. They like work for the entire company, right? So that's my one pet peeve. My second pet peeve is if you're going to have an online appointment setting company, like, please coordinate with the salesperson on site.
So you don't show up and they're like, oh, I had an appointment.
Yes.
But no, what frustrates me is when they don't know. Like, if you call an on like the on-site salesperson, the online concierge, whatever you want to call them, and they don't know the tax rate or HOA for the community, like, why don't they have a list of that to be able to reference? Those
have a list.
Don't really change.
And also this is one, like, if you're shopping for homes and again, builders, if you would put your salespeople's day off on the website, that would be great. Again, because there's some builders use what's called like open house network, or they use assistants, and so it'll be like, it's like a little, like a retired person, and they're just there like to open the door, and like, and sometimes you get that. So if you're wanting to go home shopping, a lot of times builders, they're open on weekends. A lot of builders take off Tuesday, Wednesday. A lot of them take off Wednesday, Thursday, because it's the middle of the week. So on the bright side, if you want to go like just look and not feel like you have to answer a ton of questions, that's the time to go. If you want to go and actually get something done,
get information.
you might miss. But if we could just get it on the website, I just would make everybody's life so much easier.
I don't always want to have to like call and set an appointment if it's like, hey, this may or may not be something that's going to work. It's something I want to keep in the back pocket. I don't know how long these other appointments are going to take. I just want to drop by. But like, sometimes you drop by and you just see like a sign on the door that like they're out for the day or whatever. So
yeah. Well, the worst is when I like drop, like, I don't mind it when it's just me. Like, if I'm there getting, shooting content, or if I'm just there to talk to somebody or get information, that's fine. But like when I've got a client standing behind me and they're like, hey, it's like, cool. And I made an appointment. Like, there'll be times like I made the appointment online. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. We're going to go see it. And then nobody's there. And I'm like, welp. Cross that builder off our list. We're not going back.
Off the list. Yeah.
The only,
like, if you're out looking for that day, like, it just becomes too inconvenient to try and.
The only thing worse than that is trying to take a buyer through a neighborhood that hasn't been updated on Google Maps and looking like a fool trying to figure out where it is, and because Maps hasn't updated yet.
Yeah, that's definitely a new construction woe, along with nails in the tires. Not on Google, nails in the tires.
I think I've bought 6. I think I've had 6 tires replaced already this year. It's almost one a month at this point.
Okay, so Zach, now that, like I said, now I'm working with buyers and I'm doing my research and I'm looking at all these builders and all these communities all the time. Yeah. Do you see 1,000,001 builder ads on your social media now?
Oh, I see them all the time. Yeah.
I'm like, can I turn it off? Can I just be like, look, I'm not looking for me. Stop showing me.
Also, I see it all the time, and I think I get hundreds of, and I don't mind it. Like, I get the emails all the time of like, hey, and I love it because then I can share it with people. So side note, if you don't want to get those emails, just put my email down. Like, it's easy. It's Zak at zakschmidt.com.
No,
when you go in.
Like as a buyer. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm just saying, like, if you don't want to, like, my job is to stand, like, I will, play interference all day long between you and a sales rep if I'm happy to do that. I am very guarded with my people's information. Like, I get it. Sales reps, like, they have to have the information but I'm very guarded with it. I'm like, you don't need that. Like,
I give them my number and email. Like, I do like, especially if it's a community that I'm familiar with, I know the price point, I know where it's at, and I get emails with updates on like new phases or new inventory or new incentives, like, yeah, I'm totally down for that. But like a lot of these ads, like they don't even tell you where it is. They don't tell you what the price point is. Like they don't tell you any important
Are you sure that's builder ads or is that other realtors?
No, it's builder
that bothers me too. Like,
no, yeah, because they're gatekeeping. Yeah, but no, it's actual. Like I see it. It's from the builder's social media, and it'll pop up on my stories, and it'll pop up when I'm scrolling. And
yeah, no, I all the time. They're always listening, and they know what to send you. It's so weird. Yeah. Please also, I try my best not to gatekeep. You know, I want to give away as much information as I can. So it always annoys me when I'm like, I see builders or I see other realtors and they're like, you can get this beautiful home for $2 and a chicken sandwich. And it's listed for like $650. I'm like, you're lying. Stop telling lies. Just let people know what it is, where it is, and hope. Yeah. Sorry. This is not the direction I thought we would go, but it's okay. But sometimes it's good.
So, I feel like this turned into like event session, which
like a healthy event session. It's okay.
And I'm sure if you're house hunting and you've been Googling new construction neighborhoods and builders and all that stuff, you're probably seeing all that now too, or you're like, oh great, now I'm just being inundated with this information.
Inundated like crazy. If you've applied for a mortgage, you probably have, first and foremost, if you applied for a mortgage, your lender did not like sell your information, because why would they give away business? There are businesses that buy data on the regular. So I guarantee you, once you apply for the mortgage, like you're going to get 50 phone calls of like, hey, do you want to, we can beat their rate. Your lender didn't give
letters
away,
in the mail.
The other thing that I need to say is when you and Megan, you'll experience this because you're about to close. Megan's about to close her first deal with as a realtor, not as a. She's done hundreds of deals as a sales rep. But here's the experience that you will have. Once the deal closes, you will start getting phone calls from security reps. And the phone call goes something like this. It'll be like, hey, Megan, I saw that you closed 123 Banana Street. Congratulations on that sale. My name is Sam with ADT. I would love to get your people set up on an alarm. Like, when's the best time for me to call them? And I'll give you a $250 gift card. I do not give away your information. I swear. I'm like, no, they're good. And I hang up and block. Like, but you're going to get 5 or I guarantee you will get those phone calls. And they're like, is Tuesday at 2 or Wednesday at 1 better for me to go set that up? And I'll send you a gift card. Like, nope, they're good. I'm not giving you their information.
Which, can we actually talk about that strategy real quick? Like, I appreciate like offering.
I appreciate the hustle.
Here to offer the dates, but like in my training that I've been doing, there's this one guy I can't stand. And he's like, yeah, if they suggest a date and time, reject it. Even if you're available, because you want to hold the power in the
there are some wild people in this industry. Like, and
Zach, you and I need to do training. We need to do coaching and do it the right way, and not these like scummy manipulative sales tactics. It's not it. It's not it.
I just like, guys, if more people would just be kind and just be a good human. Like, that's it. Like, be authentic, be a good human. The phrase I use is like, you do for one what you wish you could do for everyone. Right. And I promise that there are people that are killing it. And you be in control and you have the power.
I'm a very important, busy person. I'll have you know.
They probably get up at 3 a.m. and take 7 cold plunges before 10 and, run 50 miles to whatever.
Oh, God.
Not my vibe. I can't. I'm not going to fake it. So if you call Megan, she's open to setting appointments. And if you suggest it, she'll be like, yeah, I'll totally do
if I am truly available, I see no reason why not. I'm not going to do a power play move on you.
Are you still interested in doing? Yes, I'm still in. Golly, sorry. Our industry, sales in general, it's just weird. Find good people. Just find good people to work with. I think at that point we probably should wrap it up.
Yeah, so it's not about find good people. Here's our contact info.
Yeah, it's on here. We're good people. We have fun. We like to laugh, and what you see is what you get. most of the time. So to wrap it up, it's not a buyer's market. It's not a seller's market. It's always a good time for somebody. It's always a bad time for somebody. Don't feel pressured one way or the other. But if you need help, Megan and I are here. We would love to answer any questions. If we can help in any way, as always, our contact information is always at the bottom of our videos. It's in the descriptions. If you have questions, please leave them down below. I love responding to those comments and helping along the way. So guys, have a happy summer. Make sure your AC works. This is your reminder to, it's not 100 degrees yet. So make sure your AC works now, please. And enjoy your summer. So we'll see you on the next episode. Bye, y'all.